I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we can start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Khrushchev?
Here.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Here.
Let the record show that Commissioner Walker has an excused absence. Vice Chair Dixon?
Here.
Chair Pahana?
Here. All right, we'll go on to announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on the city website and clicking the meeting's agendas link. Public comments. This is a time for the public to address the Planning Commission on issues within the jurisdiction of the Commission that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the Chair of the Commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out your name and address slip and give them to the Planning Commission Secretary. The Planning Commission is prohibited by the Brown Act state law from taking action or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. I'll open up the public comments. Are you for the matter or just to speak? To speak. Okay. Jeffrey Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jeffrey Johnson. I've lived here for about 10 years. 29 Palms is facing its greatest crisis right now. Our City Council and the Planning Commission are considering a plan to remove our septic tanks and to connect our homes to a sewer line, pumping our water to the Marine base. As homeowners, we will be forced to pay for this system, which will have the unintended consequence of also burdening our water wells. Without our drain fields in place, our water tables will drop even faster and our trees will suffer. Groundwater studies show that our septic tanks benefit our desert environment. In fact, the Groundwater Management Plan 2014 update, prepared for the 29 Palms Water District, in part states, quote, that the septic return flows play an important role in groundwater management since they account for a significant percentage of extracted groundwater being returned to the groundwater basin, end quote. The proposed sewer system will cost us all more than many can afford, but more significantly, it will further tax our aquifer, which is and will continue to be in overdraft. Simply put, the water in our wells has been dropping annually since the record keeping began. Our drain fields support thousands of trees, and without drain fields in place, our water tables will drop even faster, affecting thousands of trees throughout our groundwater basin. When our city planners choose a sewage removal plan, it could result in consequences that will impact the basin for generations. We need to halt the city marine base sewer plan now and formulate a sensible approach to water management in our town. I would recommend that 29 Palms create a local septic tank district to more closely monitor our septic systems and ensure the health of our aquifers. I would also recommend that all the commissioners review and study the Groundwater Management Plan 2014 update, which which states what I've said here. It's very important that we pay attention to what we've contracted with the Groundwater Management Plan and their recommendations as to what to do about a sewer system. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Okay, I'll go ahead and close. Commission comments and reports of meetings attended. Mr. Khrushchev.
Thank you. I've been on the December 3rd, I attended another meeting of the special committee for the vacation home rental ordinance. We are, as Max has said in the past, we are making progress. Probably have one more meeting to go, and then probably a new ordinance will be ready to be presented to the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mendoza?
I have none.
Thank you. Jason?
I have none as well.
Thank you. I also haven't attended any meetings, but here shortly at 5:30, there will be the tree lighting ceremony and light parade right outside of City Hall. All right, consent calendar, we have none. Items removed from consent calendar for discussion, we don't have any. Public hearings for PC 2159 Channel Trail Mitigated Negative Declaration. I'll turn it over to Travis for the rest.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair, and I won't make this long. I don't want to stand between you and Santa, so I'll be brief. Many of you are very familiar with this project, so this is kind of like the next step in its progression. This is approval of a mitigated negative declaration for Phase 1 of the Channel Trail. The applicant here is the City of 29 Palms. The request is to adopt the mitigated negative deck. The location of the trail is on the south bank of the flood control channel between Adobe Road and Split Rock Avenue. Land use is public floodway. Just a little bit of background on the project. This trail was conceived over 15 years ago as part of a broad network of trails throughout the city. First codified in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan of 2008. It was described as a bicycle trail then. Then it was also in the general plan in 2012 as a multi-use trail. And then also appeared again in the Community Trails Master Plan of 2014. And then most recently affirmed in the Morongo Basin Active Transportation Plan in 2019, which if you'll recall, we had a little workshop on. So it's been on the books literally for many years. Overall, the planned trail for the channel is 6.8 miles long. Phase 1 is just 2,000 linear feet. It's a small portion of that. It would link the city from east to west, a lot of the neighborhoods, schools, parks, city services, and commercial area. And pulled out the ranking chart from the Morongo Basin ATP, and it was ranked as the #1 regional corridor project to implement. So we're taking the first steps to do that. This is kind of an overall view of the city. The project site is just this little area here within the circle between Adobe and Split Rock. Zooming in a little bit, the project is this pink area here of the trail, this arc. And then zooming in even more, here's Adobe on the east side and Split Rock on the west side. So just some photos of the trail. You're probably all familiar with it. It is pretty much dirt. It's mostly fill, which was dug out of the channel to create the levee in the first place. Shot of the channel. And then this is the terminus here at Split Rock. And just across the street, you can see this is the trail on Split Rock, which leads to El Paseo, which then leads to the schools. And as a note, there is another Safe Route to Schools project, which improves the trail along El Paseo, makes that sidewalk wider, and closes some gaps in it. And that's under engineering presently. So as mentioned, it's 2,000 linear feet of trail. It involves a concrete path 10 feet wide, an adjacent decomposed granite DG running path. I often see Marines running on it now as part of their exercise. There is fencing along the trail to protect private property, so wherever there are gaps in the fencing that are there now, this project would put the fencing. There's embedded solar light in the concrete rather than overhead. And of course, it all has to be ADA accessible. And we did take into account maintenance of the channel when we designed and laid this out, trying to make it easy on flood control. This is a site plan of the trail. You can see, as mentioned, it's on the south bank. There's really just one road crossing here at Tamarisk at this point. I will note that Split Rock, also another project under design, that is an at-grade crossing presently, and it is to be a bridge, a culvert bridge. We actually are almost through the Caltrans design. There's one minor issue with relocating a water line, and we're on the bridge program. We did not get funding this year, but hopefully next year, especially with some of the infrastructure money flowing, this project would be teed up because it would be really shovel-ready. Just as a section of the path, you can see the bike trail here, along with the DG running path, and there's a little 2-inch curb to help catch the runoff before it reaches the trail, or the channel. 2 trailheads at Adobe and Split Rock, each would have a bench and waste receptacle, shade trees and shrubs, a drinking fountain and bottle filler on the Adobe Road one, as well as public art, and then signage about flood safety on the Split Rock Avenue. As mentioned, this project is subject to CEQA. As part of the initial study, air quality study was prepared, as well as a GHG study. Biological resources were done. Historical archaeological resources study was completed, along with a wetlands jurisdictional delineation. So all the mitigation measures that were part of the IS are in the conditions of approval. So staff's recommendation is that any impacts can be mitigated to less than significant, and that Planning Commission adopt a mitigated negative declaration subject to the conditions of approval. And I did have a couple slides here to show you, just kind of a point of reference. This is the CV Link Trail in the Coachella Valley. Now, our trail is not quite as grand as this with the colored concrete and geometric patterns, but overall, it's kind of the same design where you have a sort of solid, biking path with a DG running path next to it. Just another shot of that. Here's another shot. And then this is a photo of the embedded solar lighting in the concrete. So it's supposed to be very low maintenance. And there is one other example I'd like to show you. This is the Tockwitz Creek Trail. This is in Palm Springs. It's a little closer to what we're creating here in this first phase of the project. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Jim, do you have any questions?
No questions, quick comment. I think this is a great project and a good expenditure of our Prop 68 funds. Something that you brought up about the fact that eventually we're going to have to put the at-grade crossing, a bridge at the at-grade crossing of Split Rock, a bridge.
Right.
Is there any timeline on that, just out of curiosity?
Well, it was under engineering when I came to the city 4 years ago. So,
okay.
But it's almost through Caltrans.
Okay.
There's one last issue with
I was
the
just
water.
curious about that.
So it's on the queue.
Okay.
But it doesn't rank high on the QD because it is a fairly small bridge in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things of
Okay.
bridges being built in California.
Okay.
But there, as I mentioned, there's going to be a lot more infrastructure money flowing, and it's going to be a shovel-ready project. And I think because of that, it would rank pretty high for infrastructure funds.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Jason?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Greg?
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think you answered all the questions in the slides that I had, so I'll open it up for public hearing. Going once? Anybody? I'll close. Bring it up here for further questions, discussion, motion.
I make a motion to accept the mitigated negative declaration, subject to the conditions of approval for the channel trail.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Khrushchev,
Aye.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dixon,
Aye.
Chair Pahana,
Aye.
4-0 approved.
All righty, moving on to discussion and potential action items. We don't have any community development director updates.
I am going to be very brief, I promise, because
Okay.
I know you all want to go see Santa, right? I'll just start by saying it's going to be a bit busy year next year. So we've got a lot of things coming down the pipe. The downtown specific plan, we're working on that document now, making the edits. The housing element, the public review period ended. We have sent a copy off to the state for their review. So that will be coming back to you. And then, as Joe mentioned, there's going to be a revision to the VHR ordinance, so that will be coming to you. And we have at least 5 planning projects that will go through the entitlement stage as well. And then there's a whole host of amendments to the development code that needs to happen next year. Everything from changes in the housing law, such as SB 9, allowing duplexes and single family. There's a new one I just learned about yesterday for EV chargers. We have to adopt a expedited ordinance to expedite the approval of EV chargers. So there's a whole bunch of those that are coming down the pipe too. So you're going to be pretty busy next year.
Nice.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Study session, we do not have any. Anybody have any comments before we adjourn?
Just want to wish everybody a happy season, be it holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever your flavor is. Enjoy your Festivus day. There you go, good word, thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, happy holidays. And this means adjourned.
All right. I think you beat me. I don't know.
18 minutes, way to go.
You didn't.
We're possibly still live.
Oh, well.